Hey guys, and welcome back to MVKP. My name is Caitlin Parrish, but you guys can call me KP. This is episode 4. I'm so excited. And for this episode, if you do not like NBA, don't even watch, because that's all we're going to be talking about. This trade deadline, I'm like at a loss for words, genuinely. I've been working all this week, and when I tell you my phone, like I've just been running back and forth, like my phone, my group text with my cousins, like it's just been going back and forth, like, oh my god, did you see this? Did you see this? And I'll actually put this TikTok here that I saw, and it's like me texting the group chat, like even though we all saw the same notification. But that's really how it was this week, because genuinely it was just so crazy with all of the trades. I am going to break them down, give my opinions on them. We're going to do gradings, that type of thing. So let's start with January 9th. It's February 6th today, but still, January 9th, first trade that happened was the Wizards. We all saw this trade go down. Wizards received Trae Young. Atlanta received CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I've already talked about this trade a lot. Like, okay, Trae Young wanted to get out of Atlanta. He got his choice. He got out of Atlanta. And, Atlanta got CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I already said I really had no idea who Corey Kispert was. I don't know. I mean, I will say I've not seen Trae Young yet play a game in Washington. The Wizards did beat Detroit, though. So that was a big win for them. Detroit being first right now in the Eastern Conference, and Washington, I want to say, is last right now, maybe second to last, but they're at the bottom of the totem pole right now, and beating first, pretty big win. And Trae Young was going crazy on the bench, so good for them over there. I'm not going to say any more about this trade, just because I've already talked about this in previous videos. So now we're going into February. This is basically a month later. We saw no action in the NBA. It was silent. And then we started pushing closer to the trade deadline. So from previous years, I've seen we don't really hear anything from the trade deadline until right before it happens. And that's what happened this week. It was 2 days before, 1 day before, and then the day of, it was it's so chaotic. So chaotic unless you are an Orlando Magic fan. Yeah, we'll get there. So, we're talking about Cleveland, Chicago, Sacramento. We'll say the Bulls were a big name this trade season. At one point they had a team full of guards. So, Cleveland received Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, both from the Kings, and then they received Emmanuel Miller from the Bulls. Chicago received Dario Saric. There's going to be a lot of names, guys. I'm going to say. I'm probably going to pronounce half of these wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not a pro. I like to think I am, but I'm sorry. But they also received a 2027 second-round pick from the Kings and a 2029 second-round pick from the Kings, and Sacramento received DeAndre Hunter from the Cavaliers. I will say, this one shocked me a lot, because the Cavs did just get DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks last season. And now he's going again. Just moving. Again. So now he's going to Sacramento. I'm interested to see how he's going to fit in, playing with DeMar DeRozan and playing with Zach LaVine and all that. I think it could be good. When I saw, Zach LaVine, DeMar, all of them over in Sacramento, I thought that they were going to be more, influential over there. We haven't really seen much going out over there, but also the Western Conference is already so competitive, so that could be part of the contributing factor of that. But I think DeAndre Hunter could be a good fit over there. As for Cleveland, personally, I did want to see Dennis Schroeder come to Orlando. I thought that could be a good fit, having another German in Orlando to team up with the Wagner brothers and with Tristan da Silva. Beggars can't be choosers there. And also Keon Ellis is up for a couple different awards right now. He's dogging. So it'll be interesting to see how they flew in with Cleveland. Have the Hawks and Portland Trail Blazers also on February 1st. So Portland got Vit Krejci, and Atlanta received Duop Reith, 2027 second-round pick, in addition to 2030 second-round pick. This one, again, two names I'm not really all too familiar with. Seems like a very minor trade when it comes to things, but I will say Atlanta did get, two more second round picks. One of the big things I was seeing in this trade deadline is a lot of it was second round picks that people were receiving, not necessarily too many first round picks. Specifically, Chicago with the second round picks that they were receiving, significant amount of them. So we'll see with that, how that turns out for them. So now we're on February 3rd. February 3rd is when things got spicy, y'all. And again, the trade deadline ended on February 5th at 3 p.m. February 3rd is when I'm at work. One of the TVs in the bar area has on Sports Center. I'm walking through and I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was just back and forth. Like, every time I walk by, I'm like, oh my God, another trade? And that's when I'd run and, like, look at my phone. And I'd be like, oh my God, my cousins are blowing up my phone. You know how it goes. This is one of the other things that makes me, like, feel for players during the trade deadline. Because we're going to talk about Pistons, Chicago, Minnesota right now, okay? So, in this trade, Detroit receives Kevin Huerter from Chicago. Again, Dario Saric from Chicago. Keep in mind, he just got traded to Chicago, right? And then a 2026 first-round protected swap from Minnesota. Chicago receives Mike Conley Jr. from Minnesota, which we'll go back to that one a little later. Jaden Ivey via Detroit, and Minnesota receives cash considerations. Okay. Like I said, I've been on social media a lot recently. I've been seeing a bunch of memes specifically for the Bulls, right? And the Bulls were like, oh, let's get some guards in here. And they just had like 26 guards at one point. But for those of you that watched the Derrick Rose, like the game and everything like that, they played the Celtics. This is when they retired his jersey. Kevin Huerter is the one who scored the game-winning shot and won the Bulls that game. Okay. So there's memes like, oh, you've been doing great for us, but you've been chopped. Like, it's just like Chopped memes and stuff like that. And for someone that loves watching Chopped, I think it's kind of funny. So, as a Bulls being my secondary team, I am sad that they did have to let go of a lot of players. And you might be like, oh, you didn't really watch the trade deadline. You're like, oh, that's just one player. Again, we will get there. Hold on to your horses, Bulls fans. Or I guess hold on to your bull horns? I don't know. But Mike Conley Jr., Chicago received him and Jaden Ivey. I'm excited to see how Jaden Ivey is going to go and mesh in with, with what they have left, which basically at this point, if we're looking at like more established players over there, it's Josh Giddey. And that's not even like an OG Bull if we're looking at it. So, but Jaden Ivey, him leaving Detroit was a big shock to me, honestly. He posted like some heartfelt videos and stuff on social media, and I've been seeing like a bunch of fan edits from when he got drafted, and he was like, I have ties to Detroit and all of that, like being drafted here, and I'm just like, damn. It's just sad because these people, like, you build a rapport with the team and you build fan base and everything like that. This trade shocked me to my core, okay? This is between the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies. Again, if you weren't really watching the trade deadline, if you hear Memphis Grizzlies, you're probably like, oh, this is Ja Morant, right? No, this is not Ja Morant. We're talking Jaren Jackson Jr., okay? Someone who is consistently going for Defensive Player of the Year, right? A freaking dog. Flashback to last summer, the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane, gone from Memphis, over to Orlando. Okay, that's one down. So now we're left over there, Jaren Jackson Jr., all the rest of them. No more Jaren Jackson Jr. The Jazz received Jaren Jackson Jr., Jock Landale, John Conker, and Vince Williams Jr. Memphis received Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, George Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. Yeah. That seems up to par with the giving 3 future first-round picks because of the level of skill that Jaren Jackson Jr. has. I'm interested to see how Utah is going to be now. I mean, look, with him playing with, Walker Kessler and what's Laurie Marketing, like that could be, pretty good over there. Like, genuinely. As for the Grizzlies, I personally am not a George Niang fan, okay? Yes, can he shoot? Yes, can he play defense? I'm just getting flashbacks back to when the Magic played against the Cavaliers. Was it 2 seasons ago? Yes, during the playoffs. And it's just like his attitude. I obviously like that. Like, you don't get judge a player on his attitude. It was just so like aggressive, but not in like a player, like how they should be aggressive, that type of way. And then also like he was on the 76ers when I lived up in South Jersey. So I saw him like up there when he was on the Sixers. And even there, like, okay, they'd be like, Niang with the three. God. Yeah, I still can't. Gotta move the microphone closer for this one. This is my favorite trade. We are on February 4th now. My favorite trade. I love cash considerations so much. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional. Charlotte Hornets, I just want to thank you from someone who lives in North Carolina now, but is a Florida girl at heart. I'm wearing my Magic sweatshirt. I don't know if y'all can see. Whew. The Charlotte Hornets gave the Orlando Magic cash consideration for Tyus Jones and 2 future second-round picks. Okay, that's enough clapping. I posted something on my Instagram story the other day, and I was like, I can't be a Magic fans anymore if the Magic don't trade Tyus Jones. And I know that's like not sportsmanlike, all about stuff. Maybe it's just having a bad season. I was hyped when the Magic got Tyus Jones this summer. I'm like, yo, like Tyus and Desmond, they're coming to Orlando. This is our season. We're winning it all. Yeah. He's gone. Yep. Do I wish we would have got something? Yes. But we got cash considerations! And it brought us under our cap, and all that's what really matters. Then the Hornets, back to back. The Thunder and the Hornets. Charlotte received Osame Dieng and 2029 second round pick, via OKC. OKC receives Mason Plumlee. Alright, nothing too crazy there, Obviously, with these, you can see who's a little more valuable in teams' eyes as well. That, you could see that obviously Mason Plumlee was a little more valuable in NBA's eyes and everything, based that, OKC had to give up a second round pick to, get Mason Plumlee. So, there's that. This trade shocked me to my core, okay? I'll say the trade, and then I'm gonna give my full thoughts, opinions. But the 76ers, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City receives Jared McCain. Philadelphia receives 2026 first round pick and 3 future second round picks from Oklahoma City. Damn. Jared McCain, alright, he just came back from injury. He hasn't been performing as to how he was performing before he came back from his injury. And, they got VJ Ekholm. VJ Ekholm is absolutely balling out. He is mixing so well with Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey is doing insane in Philly right now. Joel Embiid is finally being Joel Embiid. But for how long is Joel Embiid going to be doing this? Which I talked about before, like, Joel Embiid, he's right on average, like, he plays in just as many games as he sat out in for his entire career. And he's going to be reaching retirement soon, which is why I think this trade happened, so that they can try to get more, like, picks and stuff out of it, like young draft. Like they're looking towards the future. But also Jared McCain is still so young, you know? And also, like, just, a week or two ago, they went ahead and pulled him down to the G League and everything. So I wish that Philly would continue to give him a shot. So, but even also talk about Philly here for a second. Paul George is suspended for 25 games because he tested positive for drugs or narcotics or whatever you want to call it. People are taking this and doing Paul George walkouts at school. And I found this one clip on TikTok. I just think it's so funny that some of these, like, walkouts for Paul George, they're not even taking place in Philly. Like, this one clip that I found, it's fully in an area, no snow. These people have, like, hoodies and shorts and stuff on. Yeah, this ain't Philly. Like, Philly and all that stuff, they still have snow on the ground. This sky is blue. Philly is gray this time of year. Y'all are definitely just walking out to walk out. Like, what are you guys protesting? There's no way all y'all are Sixers fans. So I just thought that was, like, kind of ironic. Like, oh, walk out for Paul George and all of that. But Paul George did say that he was taking whatever. He didn't really specify what the substance was, but he was saying that it was for mental health purposes. Hopefully PG is doing well. I just think that the irony of the people walking out for Paul George is crazy, especially people that don't live in Philly. That would be what I would think people would walk out, is people that live in Philly and that are Sixers fans, not people from the looks of it in Southern California. Another crazy deal. Again, February 4th, the day before the trade deadline, just mind-blowing. Cleveland receives James Harden. LA receives Darius Garland and a future second-round pick. Yeah, you heard that right. Cleveland, again, a very competitive team in the East right now, got rid of Darius Garland. Cleveland now has James Harden, okay? So we will see how James Harden does with... That was one of the, like, notifications I got, is, like, Harden X Spida. I'm like, okay, you guys are really running with this already, and he's not even in Cleveland yet. And all the, like, there's strip clubs and stuff already with signs that, which, if you guys know the lore behind James Harden, is when he was on the Rockets and all that stuff, he used to frequent the strip clubs. So there's, like, strip clubs, and it's like, welcome to Cleveland, James Harden. They already have it, like, on the marquees and stuff out front. So that's kind of funny. But it'll be interesting to see how he does with the dynamic over there when a lot of the team is very young over in Cleveland. Whereas, over in LA, we're looking at, like, with him and Leonard is older, and obviously, like, the Clippers and stuff like that, we have older team over there, whereas in Cleveland we have a younger team. So it's going to be interesting to see how James Harden fits in with the dynamic of it, and if he's going to let, Spida, have his moment to shine over there as he has been doing, or if that's gonna, having two stars on the court like that, if that's gonna conflict or if it's gonna do well. I mean, we saw that in Philly with, when Paul George went over with that, and I mean, we all thought it was gonna be, oh my gosh, and really wasn't all as impressive as we thought it was going to be. So we'll see. So we're on the 5th. This isn't too crazy. Grizzlies acquired Eric Gordon. Philadelphia received 2032 second-round pick swap and draft rights to Justinian Jessup. So nothing too crazy there. So Brooklyn, again, still on the 5th. This is the day of the trade deadline. So Brooklyn received Hunter Tyson and 2032 second-round pick. Denver received 2026 second-round pick, which is least favorable Atlanta or LA Clippers. So, again, nothing too crazy here. Main story is that the Nets now have Hunter Tyson from the Nuggets, and both teams now have second-round picks. It's just that Brooklyn has theirs in 2032 and Denver has theirs 2026. Same thing here. The Nets have Josh Minott Minutes. I told you guys, there's so many names that it's like I'm bound to not get these all correct. And Boston receives cash considerations. The Hornets receive Xavier Tillman Sr. and cash considerations. Boston receives 2030 second round pick. This trade right here also, I know, shocked my friend Alex to the core because he's a big Lonzo Ball fan. But Atlanta received Jock Landale from the Jazz. And Utah received Lonzo Ball from the Cavaliers and 2 future second round picks via the Cavaliers. And it's also kind of crazy. That was a 3-team trade, by the way. Again, Atlanta, Utah, and the Cavs. But Lonzo has had such a rough career. Just he was in Chicago, got traded to Cleveland, and now he's in Utah. But poor man, he's just been through injury and injury and injury, and he was so impressive before he went through all the injuries. And, hopefully he'll be given an opportunity to shine over in Utah. And like I said, I'm interested to see how Utah is going to be now that they have all that over there, and they have Jaren Jackson Jr., and I already said, with Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen. So, we'll see. This is another crazy trade. Did not see this one coming at all, okay? We have another 3-team deal. Toronto received Chris Paul from the Clippers. Brooklyn received Ochai Agbaji from the Raptors, and then a 2032 second round pick from the Raptors. And the Clippers received rights to Vaji Markonovic from Brooklyn. So, the big story from this is that Chris Paul is going to the Toronto Raptors. We got Chris Paul, ex-Scotty Barnes now. I think that Chris Paul is going to be, the leading vet now in Toronto. He's going to be who all, these young people, like him, I already mentioned Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, they're all going to go and look to him now for this leadership. And this could be, that vet, these teams are looking for, a vet, this leadership to go and look towards. And, the retirement of Chris Paul is looming. So whether it be, after next season or at the end of this season, we'll see. So I do hope that he gets a ring before he retires. I do, but I think that he does have a better shot at getting one in Toronto than he does in Los Angeles. So that's good for him. The rest of the stuff really isn't too crazy with Brooklyn and the Clippers. But, good for Toronto for at least securing Chris Paul. I just had no idea that, he was going to go and, get traded and stuff. That's just one of the names that truly had me shocked. So, the Lakers received Luke Kennard from Atlanta, and Atlanta received Gabe Vincent and then a 2032 second-round pick. Everyone was kind of waiting for the Lakers to do something that is, something small that the Lakers did, but Luke Kennard is very talented. So we'll see how that goes for Los Angeles. I think, in the next coming days, it'll be, again, interesting to see how all these new players, they do with the mix of everything. They all have to go pack up their bags and everything. There's one trade in particular I'm waiting to talk about, and I know it's coming up. But this one is the Raptors acquired Trace Jackson Davis, and Golden State received the 2026 second round pick, which was from the Lakers that Toronto had. So that one's nothing too crazy. Again, Toronto getting someone else over there. Going back to the Bulls, because again, the Bulls went crazy. Chicago received Guerschon Yabusele and cash considerations from New York. And yeah, this is New York Knicks. And New York received Dallin Terry. And then New York also did receive Jose Alvarado, which I talked about in one of my former podcasts as well. And New Orleans received Dallin Terry, 2 second-round picks, and cash considerations. And this doesn't specify when the second-round picks are. I would assume that they're, unspecified with the years. But say sooner rather than later, to be honest. The Charlotte Hornets receive Mike Conley Jr. and Kobe White. Again, the Bulls were just abandoning ship. I don't even want to say abandoning ship, but they were just, everyone is gone, right? Crazy. Everyone is gone. And one of the trades I haven't seen talked about, like, this is the NBA trade thing that I'm going through right now, but Nikola Vucevic was traded to the Boston Celtics. So, and I can't remember off the top of my head right now who it was from. I want to say it was Kristaps Porzingis. No, it wasn't. I don't know where I got that from. I don't remember who Nikola Vucevic was, but Nikola Vucevic is a Boston Celtic now as well. That's another person that the Bulls did get rid of as well. But Charlotte received Mike Conley Jr. Again, Mike Conley Jr. already went from Minnesota to Chicago. Now he's going from Chicago to Charlotte. Kobe White is going from Chicago to Charlotte. Chicago is receiving Osame Dieng and Colin Sexton, 2029 second round pick, least favorable of Charlotte or Denver. 2031 second round pick via New York, and 2031 second round pick via Denver. I talked about last podcast. My cousin and I went to the Hornets game. They lost, and this man was going around screaming, "Trade Sexton, trade Sexton." Yeah, I bet you this man is happy right now. Sexton is traded. So, unfortunately, for my cousin and I, again, Bulls being my second team, being a Chicago sports fan, he's going to Chicago. But Chicago's dumping ship, like I said. Milwaukee receiving Nigel Hayes-Davis via Phoenix, Osame Dieng via Chicago. This man, Osame Dieng, is running around the league. I mean, he just went to Charlotte. He was on another team before that, and now he's going to Milwaukee. Like, you really can't pack your bags during this trade deadline till it's over. But Phoenix is receiving Cole Anthony from Milwaukee and Amir Coffey from Milwaukee as well. Chicago is receiving Nick Richards from Phoenix. Cole Anthony just got traded to Milwaukee during the offseason from, I actually want to say he got traded to Memphis first. He did. It was Orlando to Memphis, and then Memphis to Milwaukee, and then, yeah, now he's going to Phoenix. So, hopefully Cole World does a look. I mean, I'm a Cole Anthony fan. You know, I wish him the best always. He did do good work with us in Orlando. So, another Chicago Bulls trade. Surprise, surprise. This one kind of broke me as well. Again, I keep saying as a Magic fan, but I really wanted Ayo Dosunmu in Orlando. But I can't blame the Bulls for not wanting Tyus Jones. I really can't. So, Chicago receives Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, 2026 second round pick, 2027 second round pick, 2031 second round pick, 2032 second round pick. So Chicago really is racking up these second round picks. So bad. Minnesota is receiving Ayo Dosunmu and Julian Phillips. Okay? He said, we already have Ayo gone, we have Kobe White gone, Vooch gone, Kevin Huerter, crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I think these people, Chicago loves these people too. Even win or lose. I mean, Chicago was on a win streak at the beginning of the season. Everyone was like, yeah, the Bulls are going to be something. Then they were on a lose streak. And then, they actually were, doing good for a little bit. And here's the Vooch trade. Okay. It wasn't Porzingis. Again, I have no idea where I got that from. It was Boston receives Nikola Vucevic and a 2027 second-round pick. Chicago receives Anthony Simons and a 2026 second-round pick. So, Anthony Simons is now a Chicago Bull. Nikola Vucevic is now a Boston Celtic. I do not like Nikola Vucevic in Celtic green at all. It pains me. When we got rid of him, I talked about this as well before. I remember that day in 2021 when he got traded from Orlando, and I was at work at David's Bridal. I go on my lunch break. I think I was going to freaking Taco Bell or something like that. I look at my phone, and it's him being traded to the Bulls and Aaron Gordon being traded to the Nuggets. And then Evan Fournier, I think at that point, was being traded to the Knicks, I want to say. And the only thing that made my heart happy was that Vooch was being traded to the Bulls. That was it. And that I didn't really care if Evan Fournier got traded. So, but Aaron Gordon really stung too. But good for him, he has a ring now. But Vooch as a Celtic makes me sad. But also, like, he'll be fine over there. I trust Boston fans. Please take care of Vooch for me, please. And Anthony Simons, he is really doing very well this season. So I think that he'll be a good addition in Chicago. The Pacers receive Ivica Zubac and Kobe Brown. And then LA receive Benedict Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson. 2026 first round pick. 2029 first round pick. 2028 second round pick. Again, this is Clippers Pacers. So I'm trying to think who the Pacers big man is right now. Regardless, they got Zubac. I know he was one of the hot names for the trade deadline to pick up. And Pacers won that. I'm surprised that they got rid of Mathurin, but again, the Clippers did get rid of Chris Paul, so they needed someone to come over there and fill those shoes. And I mean, there's that. That's kind of what it is. You get rid of someone, you got to find someone else to come in and fill those shoes. Here is the trade I was talking about earlier, and this is how I got Kristaps Porzingis. We talked about how Jonathan Kuminga wanted out of Golden State. But did we really need to include Buddy Hield in this? Buddy Hield, his bromance with Jimmy Butler is, I love it so much. Like, I haven't seen Jimmy Butler that happy in interviews or anything, like, in forever. I love it so much. Just the way they clown on each other, like, it made me so happy. And I'm not even a Warriors fan, genuinely. So, Atlanta receives Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield. Golden State receives Kristaps Porzingis. So, it's crazy that Buddy Hield is not on that team anymore with, Jimmy Butler. And Buddy just got there too. It's so crazy to me. And he was actually at the airport, like, grabbing his bags or something like that. And a fan took a video. I saw it on TikTok. I want to say this morning. And they were all like, "We love you, Buddy. Like, we'll miss you." And he's like, "I miss you guys already." And I was like, stop this! Like, I know it's just a sport and all that stuff, but, like, these are real people. I know, and it's all, like, business. Like, this is their jobs and everything like that, but someone check on Jimmy Butler, please. This is a trade. We all knew that, like, Anthony Davis was, like, one of those trade talk rumors, everything like that. So, Charlotte receives Malachi Branham from the Wizards. Dallas receives Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Tyus Jones from the Hornets. So, sorry, Dallas, you're stuck with Tyus Jones now. Marvin Bagley III, 2026 first-round pick from OKC, 2030 first-round pick from Golden State, 3 future second-round picks from the Wizards. Washington receives Anthony Davis from the Magic, Jaden Hardy via the Mavericks, D'Angelo Russell from the Mavericks, and Dante Exum from the Mavericks. I'm going to put this video that I found. ESPN actually posted this. And it's like, wherever Anthony Davis goes, D'Angelo Russell is just always right with him. I was cracking up because it's so true. He went to the Mavs with him. He was in LA with him. Like, and now guess what? They're in DC together. So it'll be interesting to see, like, again, how it works out with Anthony Davis, obviously D'Lo. And we have Trae Young over there now. Like, just that all working out. Chris Middleton obviously is older, but it'll be cool to see the interaction with him and going with Cooper Flag. Obviously, when Kyrie is back and healthy too, with that interaction as well. With the injuries right now, I think the Mavericks have no choice but to give Tyus Jones a little more playing time. But also, in the Shams notification, he was like, and the Mavericks have been watching Tyus Jones. Like, did you watch any Magic game this season? Like, I don't think the Mavericks, like any of them, did if they were eyeballing Tyus Jones this season. Genuinely. I'm sorry, like, he did good for us. I don't mean to, like, actually, like, bash this man. I really don't. But it's just, like, if you're gonna come on the court, at least do something, but make errors. Please. I'm sure he's a great person outside the court, but I've only ever interacted and seen him on the court. So that's how I'm gonna judge you, is your basketball capabilities. And I'm sure he's had better seasons, but just watching Magic games consistently, that's what I'm judging you based off of. Right now, I'm looking at Yahoo Sports, and what they did is they ranked each team, and they did from an A to an F, talking about their key additions and their key losses. So I'll kind of go through this really quickly, but so starting, it goes in alphabetical order. So Atlanta Hawks, they ranked them a B+, key additions, Jonathan Kuminga, CJ McCollum, key losses, Trae Young, Kristaps Porzingis. With the key additions with Jonathan Kuminga, CJ McCollum, Trae Young, Kristaps Porzingis, okay. Obviously, Trae Young did not want to be there, so I wouldn't even consider that a key loss because I talked about this too. If a player does not want to be there, they necessarily do not have to play good, okay? So, ranking them a B+, I would have to agree with that, but also saying, like, I think that having Jonathan Kuminga there, too, is another player. He did not want to be on Golden State, too. And, so that's the same thing. Like, he was not given an opportunity to shine in Golden State. So him going over to Atlanta is going to give him the opportunity to go and actually play and earn points and score on a team that, like, is not necessarily doing well this season. So he's going to have an opportunity to shine. And same with CJ McCollum. Like, they're given an opportunity to go and shine in a franchise. Okay, so Boston Celtics. They're ranking them a B. Key addition, Nikola Vucevic. Key loss, Anthony Simons. So I love Nikola Vucevic, okay? And so did the Chicago Bulls. They nicknamed him Vucci Mane, which I love. Key loss, Anthony Simons. I'm only saying this, and them losing Anthony Simons, especially when he is up there right now for awards and everything right now, they're saying that they upgraded their center position and everything like that, but also, like, Nikola Vucevic as saying that the Celtics upgraded their center position, yes, but Vooch, like, yes, he does score and everything like that, but Anthony Simons is scoring a lot more consistently. But the Celtics, like, they don't have a problem right now scoring. They do have Jaylen Brown that's doing a pretty impressive job with it. So I think a B is a good score, but also, like, I really don't. I think it could be lower, but also, like, I'm going to keep it with the B and agree with them just because I do love and respect Nikola Vucevic. But also, like, we'll see how it goes just because I do think that Anthony Simons, like, does do a really good job at scoring. And I think that at the end of the day will help the Bulls. I'm interested to see how they rank Chicago with how they were tanking and everything. So, okay, they ranked the Brooklyn Nets a B. Basically, the summary is that they did what everyone expected to. They took on money, and they got the second-round picks. I'm literally giving them a C. Like, they really didn't do anything. They picked up one player, and they didn't lose anyone. But the Brooklyn Nets, like, they really didn't do anything. Okay, they didn't do anything too impressive. They got Agabaji, and that's it. So I'm giving them a C. Like, I feel like they could have done more. They do have things, and also, like, I'm interested to see where Cam Thomas is going. He is a free agent, so we'll see. Charlotte Hornets, a B+. This isn't updated because they're saying key additions, Kobe White and Tyus Jones. Key loss, Colin Sexton. I wouldn't consider Colin Sexton a key loss, but I also will at the same time. I'm only saying that also because I know how the fans do feel about him. But also, I think that if we're looking at it, I think Kobe White is going to be more beneficial to them. So they are saying B+. I would have to say to that just because for anyone to be an A, that would have to be pretty freaking impressive in my records or my scale and everything like that. But also, the Hornets are freaking insane right now. If you're looking at anything, like, they are on a roll. LaMelo is on fire. Like, Brandon Miller is on fire. They have Conca who's absolutely on fire. And I think adding Kobe White to that mix is going to be insane, too, because he is still young. He was doing very well in Chicago. Yes, he did have his rough moments, but still. And I think that having that new addition too is going to be very good for him, and I think that he's going to be better off with Colin Sexton. So yes, I would have to agree to the B plus. So they gave the Chicago Bulls a B. Key additions: Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton, Jaden Ivey, and then a whole lot of second round picks. Key losses: Kobe White, Nikola Vucevic, Ayo DeSumo. It's very hurtful for me again as the Bulls being a second team because like they did dump all of these. They said that here Chicago has seemingly embraced tanking and they should have done a long time ago. But also like the same thing with the Magic, like they tanked and then they didn't tank and then like they probably should have like done more to do anything like that. But did they really need to get rid of all those players? But I think that Anthony Simons is a really big pickup. Jaden Ivey is a huge pickup, right? Colin Sexton, I'm interested to see how he's going to work. And also for them to see, they have so many second round picks, how that's going to work out. That's going to be interesting to see. But specifically talking about Anthony Simons and Jaden Ivey, they give him a B. I'm going to give him a B plus. Just because I think that seeing how those two are going to work with Mattis and, Josh Giddey and all of them, I think it's going to work out very well. So we'll see how that goes. Cleveland Cavaliers, they ranked them a B minus. They picked up James Harden, Keon Ellis, and Dennis Schroeder. They lost Darian Garland and Lonzo Ball. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers really didn't need to do anything to begin with, but they got Dennis Schroeder. He, isn't having his best season ever, but the way that I'm looking at this is you have to compare James Harden to Darius Garland. James Harden right now, even though he is older, is having one of the best seasons of his career. And I think that he is going to go and give that leadership position that Darius Garland doesn't have. But again, it's all going to come down to what's going to happen between that, having someone with it's going to be that power dynamic, we'll put it that way, between, Spida and James Harden. And because when you have two people that both like to shoot, what's going to happen? So they gave it a B minus. I'm going to give it a B. We'll see. Dallas Mavericks, they gave them a B. Key additions: Chris Middleton. Key losses: Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell. I mean, Anthony Davis, injury. D'Angelo Russell, not really doing anything anyway. I got to go see the Mavericks play. As you guys can see on my memorabilia wall, I started collecting stuff more recently from any arena, stadium that I've been to. So I do have the Mavericks up here too. Same with the Hornets, but not necessarily a fan of either team like consistently. Most of the stuff I have up here is like teams that I'm like actually like fans of, but I actually started getting like little stickers or little knickknacks from like other places that I've been to. Anyway, besides the point, but when I saw that, Anthony Davis really didn't do much when I was there. It's the Cooper Flag show over there. And I think that Chris Middleton is actually going to go help assist with that. And losing Anthony Davis for them really isn't the biggest loss. And you could see, like, the fact that they had to do, like, 14-team trade deal to get rid of Anthony Davis, and that D'Angelo Russell was part of that package deal too. It's kind of bonkers to me, but so I'll agree with the B plus on that. Denver Nuggets, they gave him a C. Key additions, none. Key loss, Hunter Tyson. So the Nuggets really don't need, they just need Nikola Jokic healthy. I think between that and they need Aaron Gordon to come back from his injury that he's dealing with right now. So, but also like with Hunter Tyson, like, yes, they could have kept him and everything like that. I think them doing a C, they really didn't need to do anything. So I think a B minus B is probably better reflecting of that for them to go and get like more picks and stuff like that. But, I think more importantly for them right now, looking at it, they just need to get Jokic 100% healthy, which I believe he's back now and everything. But they need to get Aaron Gordon 100% healthy too, and then they're back in the running and everything. Detroit Pistons, key additions, Kevin Huerter, and they also got draft equity, and then key loss, Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey is a, you know, a big loss for them. But like I said, I'm very interested to see how he does in Chicago. Kevin Huerter, I also talked about too. You know, he does make big shots, big moments. He had that big shot in Derrick Rose jersey retirement night. So I think that he will fill in what Jaden Ivey did, but he really never got the shot to fully shine with, you know, Cade Cunningham and everyone, all those big names, Tobias Harris in Detroit. So I think Kevin Huerter will go in, like, fit in over there. Golden State Warrior. So they're saying key addition Kristaps Porzingis, key loss Jonathan Kuminga. So here's the thing with Kristaps Porzingis, and I didn't talk about this earlier, but I'm not sure if anyone really knows about this, but Kristaps Porzingis, he has something called POTS, and it's like, I don't know the full name of it, okay? But I have friends that have POTS, and POTS is something, it's not impossible to play a sport with POTS, but it is very difficult. And he hasn't been 100% himself since being fully diagnosed with it. So, but also them losing Jonathan Kuminga goes back to he wasn't necessarily given the full chance to play in Golden State, which is why he was like, I want to get out of here. So they ranked Golden State a B-. I'm honestly going to give them a C flat, yeah. Because you're getting someone who doesn't necessarily know if they can play every game. And also, like, even if they can play every game, how long can they play? Because with POTS, too, like, you never know. Like, you could pass out in an instant just from running down the court. And you could throw up because you need to get the blood rushing back to your head. Like, that type of thing. So, who knows? Houston Rockets, key additions, none. Key losses, none. Yeah. We already talked about Houston Rockets last, podcast. But they have Fred VanVleet out. They have Steven Adams out. They have Clint Capella as center. Why didn't we do anything? Okay? So they're getting a big fat F. They gave him a C. But why didn't we do anything? Okay? Just like a little bit of help. I know that we're like doing okay right now, but like if we really want to actually do a playoff push right now, like a little bit of help, or maybe an F is harsh. Let's give them a D. Okay. Pacers is a C. They said key additions Vaka Zubac. I like saying his name really fast. Key loss Benedict Mathurin. They gave him a C-. They kind of agreed with what I was saying here, that they think that Zubac is gonna fit in well with the team, but did they really need to give up Mathurin for that? Like, it really wasn't a very comparable trade at the end of the day. They gave him a C-. I think that also, like, Zubac will do well over there, so I think a C- is a little harsh. But I think that the Pacers right now, they're in tank. I don't even want to say tank mode, because they are struggling, which I'd also talked about, the comparison with the injuries, like Tyrese Halliburton being out versus, like, Jason Tatum being out, and looking at the Celtics versus looking at the Pacers, and how both teams handle their star player being out. And I think that's kind of what the Pacers were looking at. Like, we need help right now. And that's why they were like, okay, let's bring in Zubac. So they're giving him a C-. I'm going to give him a C just because I think that's what the Pacers were looking for, is, like, help immediately. But I really don't think that they needed to do something so drastic with that. Especially since I don't think that Mathurin was the problem. So the Clippers, they gave him an A. Key additions, Darius Garland, Benedict Mathurin. Key losses, James Harden, Vaka Zubac. So I think the Clippers, honestly, again, they kind of got lucky with all of this. They got youth. That's really what they got out of this trade. Darius Garland is young. Benedict Mathurin is young. And like I said, I really don't think that the Pacers losing and everything like that is completely on him. So I think that is good for him, to go over to the Clippers and play with Kawhi. And same with Darius Garland. He's been playing over in Cleveland. He's been playing with a consistently, like, winning team. He can take what he learned from there and everything like that with Cleveland's offense and defense and bring it over to Los Angeles. I don't think them losing James Harden is that big of a deal. and they ranked him an A. I would have to say with that, I agree. It's not the end of the world for them. Lakers, key additions, Luke Kennard, key loss, Gabe Vincent. They ranked him a B. I know Luke Kennard is a shooter, but I mean, losing Gabe Vincent isn't too big of a deal. I mean, especially with Luke Kennard, I think going to be able to make more moves on the offense for that. I would have to say B plus versus just a flat B, just because I think that offensively, Luke Kennard is going to be able to bring more shots and stuff like that. The Grizzlies, they gave the Grizzlies an A, and they said key addition is picks, key loss, Jaren Jackson Jr. I just read the little blurb because I'm kind of confused with the A, but it just said they want to rebuild in Memphis. If you really wanted to rebuild in Memphis, I don't know why Ja wasn't over Jaren Jackson Jr., but also I understand the concept of rebuilding, and I do see Ja being traded this summer versus now, just because this summer when everyone sees like what picks everyone has, that might be a little more like realistic with trading and everything. But it's kind of crazy with Jaren Jackson Jr. being gone from Memphis. And if anyone's seen that, like, this girl, her name is like Supervan Vivian or something like that. It's this little girl, and she goes to like all these sports games and stuff like that. And she's like Jaren Jackson Jr.'s best friend. And she posted this like tribute video for him. Oh, it made me so sad. But it's crazy that he's gone. And he even had a feeling, I think, that he knew he was going to be gone because he signed like everyone's jerseys and everything on his last tunnel walk. And was like saying that he loves the fans and everything. It's crazy. Sometimes the players just know. The Heat. They gave the Heat a C. The Heat did literally nothing, okay? The Heat were one of the people that were like, oh, we kind of want to go for Giannis. Giannis is another person, which I'll put the clip. Giannis, like to Instagram was like, oh, can't live a thug or something like that. But, I mean, Giannis didn't want to leave Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee wanted Giannis, like, something for him. Because Milwaukee really was, like, good, and then, like, what happened? Okay. So I think if something happens with Giannis, it's going to happen this summer. And that could be why the Heat really didn't do anything. But also, like, the Heat are consistently, like, play-in teams. And they could have done something, you know? At least trying to get picks for something. So, you know, and even if they wanted to go after, like, Giannis or Ja or something like that, like, they could have got something to at least sweeten the deal a little bit more. Unless they're going to give up, like, what, Tyler Hero? Which, that would be absolutely crazy if they do. Or Bam. Again, crazy. So, I mean, I wish they would have done something. They gave him a C. I probably would have given him a D. Or at least something for picks. Milwaukee Bucks. They gave him a C+. Key additions, Nick Richardson. Key loss, Cole Anthony. So, I really don't think that Cole Anthony for them was a key loss, especially since, like, Cole Anthony wasn't a starter for them. I don't even think he got that many minutes for them, especially looking at, like, Cole Anthony. Like, I still follow him on Instagram. When he was in Orlando, he was still, like, posting and stuff like that, and he still posts, like, the Cole Anthony Foundation, and I feel like, I don't really see him post much about, like, Milwaukee, which is crazy because he used to post, like, Orlando stuff all the time. So for me, that just means, like, he doesn't really play that much, so I really don't think that was a big loss for them. So them giving them a C+, like, I really just don't agree with that. Like, I really don't think that they did anything, but also it's because they could just be gearing up for, again, a Giannis trade this summer. I think that more realistically, I think it's going to be... It's, like, hard, like, to grade these because, like, you really didn't do anything. Like, you got rid of someone, you gained someone. Like, I feel like a C+ is okay, but it's, like, meh. Like, what do you grade, like, a meh? I guess I'll stick with it for the sake of, like, I really don't know. The Timberwolves, they ranked them a B+. Key additions, Ayo Dosunmu. Key loss, Rob Dillingham. I think that Dosunmu will go well with Anthony Edwards. I think that he will also blend well with, I think he'll blend well with everyone over there. So I think that it was a good pickup for them. Saying B+, okay. I'm actually going to give them an A. Rob Dillingham, okay, you guys lost him, but I think that Io DeSumo, again, with the youth and everything like that, I think that he's going to do exceptionally well over there. So I'm probably going to watch the first Timberwolves game just to see how Io does over there. Pelicans, they gave him a C+, picked up Dallin Terry, they got rid of Jose Alvarado, but they really didn't do anything for that. Again, Jose Alvarado, he's on the list for a couple awards, which I talked about in like 2 videos ago, like picking the NBA awards. And like again, the NBA awards, whatever, that doesn't really matter for the teams, more for the players and everything like that. They're not really doing much. Like their players are just like Zion's a little more inconsistent this year. It would have been better, I guess, to just do nothing, but I guess they got picks, which is better than nothing. But still, they gave him a C plus. Like, I guess a C plus is like that, like score. So I'm just gonna keep that. So the Knicks, they got Jose Alvarado, and they lost Gershon Yabusele. Minus, I really like Gershon Yabusele. I saw him play when he was in Philly. So I think that he's very underestimated as a player, but also looking at Jose Alvarado again being nominated for a couple of these big awards and everything like that, he's very underestimated as a player. So there's all of that to take into consideration, but I think that the Knicks having someone, they already have a lot of shooters and stuff like that. So a B minus is okay. I'm trying to make these like grades and stuff like that unbiased by my likes for the players, because like I said, I really do like Yabusele, but I do know that Jose Alvarado like is an actual, like, he's a hooper too. So a B minus, okay, I think I'm gonna give them a B, but just because they picked up someone else that can shoot and help with like Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and all of them, just because I've seen, like, I went to a Magic game where they brought in like, you know, their third line, not to say Jose Alvarado is going to be third line, but where they brought in, you know, not Josh Hart, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and all of them, and they, like, the Magic scored 20 points off their third string, and Josh Hart fully had to throw his kid and go back on the court with 20 seconds left. So there's that. OKC, they got Jared McCain, and they really didn't have to give up much for it. I really think that Jared McCain really just needed to be given a shot. Like I said, he had some, you know, rough patches. He's coming back from an injury. People keep making jokes like, oh, the Thunder got someone to help make TikTok dances with. Okay, and they have a lot of youth over there. Jared McCain is going to fit in so well over there, so them giving them an A+, I completely agree with that. As much as I hate that he did have to get traded and everything like that, and the Sixers did not want to give him a chance, but whatever, it's the Sixers, I'm not surprised. Oh my god, they gave the Magic a C. Key additions, none. Key loss, Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is not a key loss. Whatever. We got under the luxury tax. We got cash considerations, and we got rid of Tyus Jones. A+++++++. Okay? Anyone that's like saying otherwise did not watch a single Magic game this season. Next. 76ers, key additions, none. Key loss, Jared McCain, and B-. They're saying they got under the tax, but they lost Jared McCain to save a buck. And that it only hurts the fan experience. Exactly. Everyone in Philly is actually devastated right now. So, saying a B-, I don't even care, because, like, the B- is so bad. No, you're getting a C- from me. And it's not even because I like and respect Jared McCain as a person and a player. It's just because you guys have done so much other stuff than to just give him up for petty picks. You guys could have got someone in return. Like, anything but that. Like, you just, like, gave him up for dirt and scraps. So, they gave the Suns a C+, key additions none, key losses none. I'm not even going to say anything about the Suns. Like, they just left it at nothing. Cool. Move on. The Trailblazers, they picked up Vic Krejci, and they're considering that, like, the key addition, key loss, Duop Reith, and I mean, I don't really know enough about him to make a solid grade and stuff, but so I'm just going to keep it at the B, and I'm interested to see how he's going to do with the Trailblazers and everything like that. I am going to watch. I do think that the Magic do play them soon, so it'll be cool to watch that. And I don't think that the Trailblazers will make it to the playoffs, but also at the end of the day, who knows? The West at the top is very competitive, and then it's like so narrow over there. At this point, it's anyone's game. The Kings, key addition DeAndre Hunter, key losses Keon Ellis, and Dennis Schroeder. And they're ranking them a C. Getting DeAndre Hunter, I think, is a good pickup, but I don't think that Dennis Schroeder has been doing too much over there. And Keon Ellis is a big name to lose. I think that DeAndre Hunter is a good addition for them, but losing 2 players versus gaining 1, I hope for their sake that DeAndre Hunter is going to be enough of a gain for them to get that. But DeAndre Hunter, I really think, is going to work well with Zach LaVine, and he's going to work well with DeMar DeRozan over there. So we'll see how that goes. And I think that a C is not a good scoring of that. I'm going to actually give them a B, because I do like DeAndre Hunter. I really think that he is a difference maker with that. The Spurs, a C. They really didn't do much. But also, I don't think that a C is okay with that, because I think a B, only because they really didn't need to do anything. They got Wemby kicking ass over there right now, okay? He's kicking ass and making name. They're saying that they're ready to win now, so not making a big splash at the deadline is simply a weird move. Okay, but they're also, I get that, but also, what were they going to do? They have a really good roster right now, and why mess with pieces that aren't broken? Okay? And we're almost done here, guys. The Raptors, C+, key additions none. Okay, Agavi, and they're saying a C+, and the reasoning they ranked a C+ is that he hasn't really played well this season, so it wasn't a major loss. Again, I don't really know all too much about him to make a valid grade on him, so I'm going to agree with the C+, and solely for the reason that they did get underneath the luxury tax by moving him, and based on that, they did say that he hasn't played well this season. Not even for that, but for the purpose that they did get underneath the luxury tax. So, who's to say that they aren't going to go and pick someone up off, free agency right now? Jazz, they got Jaren Jackson Jr., but they lost a lot of picks. So, I really like Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that he's a great defensive player, and I think that he is going to do very well in Utah. For them giving him a B-, I don't like that. I would say a B+, just because, again, I really think that he's going to do very well over there with Lauri Markkanen. Keontae George is over there. Just all the players over there. I think he's going to do very well. Last but not least, Washington Wizards. They said a C, because they got Trae Young, Anthony Davis, but they lost CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton. The thing is, I kind of agree with this, but I also don't, because you have Anthony Davis, who is injured, and they have Trae Young, who is injured right now. So, if they can get uninjured and Anthony Davis can just stop getting injured so frequently, I can see this paying off. And Trae Young is going to be coming off of injury sooner rather than later. So there's that. But it's also they just need to get off injury sooner rather than later. And as for D'Angelo Russell, I already said, it could be good, it could be bad. He doesn't really do all too much. But also, the Wizards were going through, this rebuilding process and everything. So we'll see how that kind of pans out for them. So that's kind of everything that went on with the NBA trade deadline. I know this was a long video. That's why I only wanted to talk about NBA today. We have the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. MLB is kind of quiet right now. We have that coming up. So, yeah, and like I said, I know it was a lot, but you can just imagine my mind was everywhere this week as a very, very, very big NBA fan. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please put some comments down below, some thoughts. I'm going to be posting little clips on the TikTok and the Instagram, which is the same username as the podcast name. So please feel free to interact with both of those, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.